Hello, and welcome back to another fire-roasted episode of Snoopshow. Today we're going to be talking about something that may not actually exist. Okay, it might exist. Okay, there is some anecdotal evidence to say that the keto flu is in fact a thing. So here's the deal with the keto flu. If you follow the ketogenic diet guidelines properly, you shouldn't actually have any negative symptoms. Now, the body is actually designed to use fat as a fuel source. Babies are born in ketosis, and the body is designed to go in and out of periods of ketosis to mimic the lack of access to carbohydrates that our ancestors would have had in the wild. Now, a lot of people think that a very normal part of starting the ketogenic diet, especially for the first time, is to experience a whole host of negative symptoms such as nausea, dizziness, lack of energy, just that general feeling like crap feeling. And my take on it is that as long as you do it right, there's really no reason that you should experience any of these symptoms. So before I go any further, I want to refer you guys to this video right here that I made a long time ago about the ketogenic diet and what it actually is. If you're not familiar with it, I would definitely recommend pausing right now. Go ahead and watch this video here and then come back to this one to get a little bit more refined protocol on how to actually do the ketogenic diet properly. So I'm going to give you a handful of tips and guidelines that you guys can follow to be successful with the ketogenic diet, but I cannot stress enough that these are not hacks, these are not shortcuts, these are things that you absolutely need to do if you're going to be successful on the ketogenic diet. Number one, the first reason that a lot of people fail on the ketogenic diet right off the bat is that they're not consuming enough healthy fats. Now, usually, if you're not in a state of ketosis, the body is running primarily off of glucose. This is broken down sugar that comes from carbohydrates. Now, when you take all the carbohydrates away, you need to replace those calorically with an equal amount of fats. Now, healthy fats include coconut oil, olive oil, macadamia nuts, fatty fish like salmon, and my absolute favorite, MCT oil. What MCT oil is a concentrate that comes from either palm kernel oil or coconut oil and breaks down into small fatty acids called ketones. Not only does this give you an immediate brain fuel, but it fills in that gap in that period of time between when you cut off your carbohydrate intake and when you're trying to get the body into a state of producing its own endogenous ketones in the liver. Now, these are very, very concentrated oils, so you definitely want to ease into using them. I wouldn't start with more than a couple teaspoons at first and generally increase up to a couple tablespoons a day. Now, there are a lot of different brands of MCT oil. My personal favorite is this, Brain Octane oil. It's produced by Bulletproof and it contains exclusively the C8 medium chain triglycerides. Now, these are the smallest triglycerides that you can find in oil form and therefore are the most easily broken down into ketones. This stuff is awesome. It's a little bit more expensive than other MCT oil, but it's definitely worth the investment. Okay, another huge thing you can do in order to completely knock out the keto flu in especially the first couple weeks of ketosis, but I recommend doing this for the entire time, is supplementing your diet with pink Himalayan sea salt. Now, I have a grinder of it right here. As you can see, it's almost gone because I go through this stuff very, very quickly. Now, when you're in ketosis, a lot of different things happen metabolically in the body in the absence of carbohydrates. One thing is that the need for minerals actually goes up a little bit. Now, a lot of people start to experience headaches and nausea and dizziness the first several days on the ketogenic diet, and it's simply for a lot of people because they don't have an adequate mineral intake. So what I do personally every morning when I wake up is the first glass of water I have, I'll mix in about half a teaspoon of pink salt, stir it until it dissolves, and drink that immediately. Sometimes I do this before bed too. You might find that the headaches you get in the first few days of the ketogenic diet completely go away when you start doing this. All right, now the next step is also extremely important, hydration. One of the key functions of carbohydrates in the body is to help retain water. Because of this, the need to hydrate adequately goes up. Now, unlike all men under God, all different types of water are not created equal. And so it is very, very important that you get a quality water source. Make sure it's extra filtered and alkaline if possible. I personally use a Kangen machine and drink high pH alkalized water, and makes me feel great when I'm in a state of deep ketosis. Magnesium. Now, this is an extremely important mineral that you're not necessarily going to find in pink salt, so it's important that you supplement with it on its own. I personally use a transdermal magnesium oil, which is a brine made from the Zechstein seabed over in Europe. I spray this stuff on my skin, about 300 milligrams every night, let it soak in, and then I rinse it off after about 20 minutes. Now, there are also oral forms of this you can take, but the reason that magnesium is so important, especially in this country, is that somewhere in the ballpark of 2 out of every 3 people are severely deficient in this mineral. Magnesium is extremely important because it is used in over 300 different enzymatic processes in the body. So you can imagine the havoc it would wreak on your body to not have enough of this, especially during times of ketosis. Now, ketosis is what's called a hermetic stressor, which means it is putting a little bit of a stress on the body. In fact, it's actually mimicking those periods of time in our ancient past where we wouldn't have access to carbohydrates, especially in the winter months. During that time, our body does have an increased need for other nutrients such as water and minerals, so I find that supplementing with magnesium either orally or transdermally really helps take away the brain fog and also improves my sleep quality during ketosis. Now, the final thing that you can do to ensure that you are successful on your ketogenic journey is to get regular exposure to sunlight. Now, in the absence of carbohydrates, we're teaching our body to use primarily fat as fuel. But what a lot of people don't know is that the mitochondria, also known as the powerhouse of the cell, as you may remember from your high school biology class, can actually utilize infrared light as a fuel source. Now, on the surface of the mitochondria, there is a specific protein called cytochrome C oxidase. When this cytochrome C oxidase is stimulated by sunlight, again, the infrared spectrum, it pushes nitric oxide out into the bloodstream, which increases circulation and energy, but also lets the mitochondria produce more ATP, which, as you may remember, is energy. So getting exposure to regular sunlight can not only help boost your vitamin D levels, which is also going to help your sleep quality, which for some people diminishes temporarily when they first enter ketosis. Your body will actually produce more energy as a result of getting the sun. So if you can't get out every day, that's okay, but even in the winter months, if you can get outside as much as you possibly can, even just getting some sun on your face and indirectly in your eyes will make a huge difference for you. So there you have it, guys. Everything you need to know to make sure that you are successful and feel absolutely wonderful during your ketogenic journey. There's really no reason to accept the fact that the keto flu is an inevitable part of being in a ketogenic state. As long as you follow these guidelines that I've given you, I guarantee you will be successful. Now, if you have any other questions about the ketogenic diet or would like to share your experience, feel free to put that in the comments below. Make sure you hit one of the thumbs and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you next time.